Yes. Good evening.
Good morning.
That's the right way. You are 8 a.m. and I'm 11 p.m.
You just gotta love technology.
Yes, that's right. Fantastic, can be connected throughout. That's the beauty of it, yeah.
It
Mm.
is.
But the other day, I was attending, because I'm part of the Malaysian Retailers Association. So the Alibaba, they gave a course on how you can connect and do a lot of things to the cloud, the Alibaba cloud. And then it was a 2 days course, 3 hours each day, Saturday and Sunday. And then after seeing it, I was overwhelmed. I mean, it was fantastic. You can do
Yeah.
so many things in the cloud, so many connections. It's incredible when I saw what they could do. And then I felt that, I really need to connect it. I felt so overwhelmed. I just
Mhm.
felt that, that is fantastic, but I just felt that, what's going to happen, you feel totally lost. You need them, but at the same time, you are so far away from what is real. And that's when I felt that, I need to touch a tree, I need to touch a plant. I mean, you appreciate the AI, you appreciate what it could do, and it's so incredible, it's so powerful. But at the same time, it makes you feel so small and it
Mhm.
makes you feel so, you know, irrelevant. It comes to a point where they are so important, the AI, and you become so small.
You
you
really
know?
do. You're kind of distilled down to electrons when you go in this direction.
Yeah.
And you don't, like you said, you don't have that connection, and it can be, I don't know,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I use the word overwhelming.
I was overwhelmed,
Yeah.
because
Well, I mean,
overwhelmed
when you're
in
dealing
two
with
ways.
it, when you deal with that kind of technology, and it's, there's just, they've been working on something for years, putting it all together, and then they just kind of dump it on you. You just have to kind of chunk it down, just try and take little pieces at a time. But um, Gary and
No,
I, have both said, I mean, he's done more work in the virtual world than I have,
mm,
over the last, couple of years. And the first couple of months that when we started doing this, I was having a difficult time, because I was just it was so unusual to me. And I'm so used to, when I'm connecting to people, I really feel their energy, and I feel, a lot more type of a different type of connection with them. And when I talk and I give speeches and lectures, I'm so used to being able to walk. I like to walk, and I think everybody kind of noticed I start using my hands a lot more, because it's just the way I normally talk and I present. And but when we first started, I was just kind of like, okay, now what do I do? I'm just like, there's nobody in front of me. All I am is just little electrons going through the wires. And so it took quite a bit of for me to get used to it. And he'd already been past that point. Um, and then and we're so looking forward to, all of this getting over with, so that we can actually get back to doing live events and doing a little bit more in that direction. But I understand. And I've
yeah.
been to
But,
these.
you see, like when you are doing this type of presentation, you're still talking to another human being. But the other day, when they were presenting to us, it's nothing to do with human beings. It's to do with the AI intelligence of what it can do for your business.
Yeah.
How it, oh my God, I couldn't understand most of it, but I was just listening it to that overview, and to
Mhm.
see whether we should connect with them or to buy the system for my IT people to join in. And then for the 2 days, the 3 hours, 3 hours, 6 hours, I just felt that, oh my God, it's so incredible what they could do and what they could
Yeah.
perform. I'm so small compared to the whole universe. I mean, to the whole and I felt that, oh gosh, I need air, I need
Yeah.
nature. I need to be connected to the world, you know. So I guess, in the future, it's good. I mean, it's just like, see, now we are connected. It's good in many ways, but it's also a challenge, it's a new challenges that will go around. Yeah.
Well, I think I've said this before is I remember years ago, I was at the phone store and I was getting a different phone. And so they're taking my old phone and they're transferring the information to my new phone.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting in the tech area and I'm listening to the technicians talk to like they were like teenagers, some very much younger kids, and I'm listening to this conversation, and hi Maria, and
Hi,
I
Ross.
in that conversation I'm looking and I'm like, this technology is not for me, it's for them, pure and simple. This is
Hi, Jean.
nothing to do with me. I just happen to be kind of an added, I kind of come with the
Mm.
package. So when you look at whether it be technology or you look at banking or you look at some of these social changes, the people that are putting all this together, or AI and stuff like that, the people that are putting all this together, it's not for today. Today is just an experiment to see how to make it work. They've got a 10, 15, 20, 30-year plan for a lot of this technology. And when we look at maybe some of the things that are going on today, just on as far as the global economy and everything that's going on, the way I look at it, and again, Gary and I both were just kind of like, observe, interpret, and then respond to what's going on and not jumping in and getting all caught up in it. But we look at it and we're like, okay, so this is the start of something. It's just the start. What's the end game? Where is this leading? And that's with any technology. I don't know if I told this at on any of the calls in the past, but a long time ago when I was in my early 20s, I worked for a gentleman who was the vice president of a major bank here in Seattle. And he had retired and he was doing some other businesses, and I ended up working for him. So I'm talking to his banker friends. Now, this is a long time ago. And we're sitting there having lunch and they say, Ross, pretty soon, when you go to the gas station, you're not even going to walk in anymore to pay for your gas. You're just going to put a card in the pump. That's all you're going to do. You're just going to put a card in the pump. You're going to be done, get in the car, and you're going to drive away. If you are doing a transaction with a friend, all you're going to do is push some buttons. You don't have to go to the bank and write a check. You don't have to do any of that. It's all going to be instant. And I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's really, it was way beyond me.
Mm.
And 10 years later, roughly 9 or 10 years later, I'm at a gas station, and I've been doing this all, and I'm putting my card into the pump, and then I just stopped. I'm like, oh my God, they were right. They had this already planned 10 years ago. So there's thinking way ahead. And so when we look at the things that are going on today, or you're going to classes like this where the AI is, it's kind of mind-boggling. It's like, this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
And we have to look at both the convenience of it and the good of it, but also, are we going to be paying a price for this? And I don't mean a dollar price. I mean a social price.
Yes, I think it will be a great social price. Yeah.
Yes, I do believe. I look at my daughter's children now, and they're rather relatively young, and I look at how fast they took to technology.
Oh, they are just like,
Just like
it's like
that, yes.
born with it, their DNA is there, they just know how to turn whatever buttons, faster than what you
Yeah.
can do.
And I
Yeah,
look at that, and I look at that as almost, that's kind of a plus to a degree, because I mean, technology, we can look at all the bad things that, people are talking about as far as technology, but there's a lot of good things that happen that are
yeah.
it's gonna work for too. We have, where I live here in my neighborhood, we have some new families that have kind of moved in lately. And so there's a lot more kids that are playing in the neighborhood. And I was talking with one of my neighbors, like, wow, there's a lot of kids, kind of like, yeah, he's not really sure he likes it. And I'm like, dude, at least they're outside. They're not stuck in the house on a gaming console staring at a screen. They're outside, they're playing like we used to play. They're interacting with each other. They're creating the social ladder for the neighborhood of the kids. I mean, you can tell who's kind of the alpha, or who's kind of taking charge, and you find the other ones that are doing this, and it's really interesting to watch. I said, but they're outside, they're doing stuff. They're playing the games. They've got their bicycles and their other stuff, and they're riding around, and they're interacting, and they're learning how to interact with other human beings. And I've seen the other side of that, where you can tell when you're dealing with somebody that they are mostly in this realm. They're in the electronic realm, because they don't have, though, that they don't know how to relate to another human being on a one-to-one basis. And that is the social price that concerns me, is that as we become more and more integrated in the electronic world, we also become more and more disconnected from the real world.
Yeah.
And it can
Yeah.
be a concern. It
It
can
will
definitely be a concern.
It will be, definitely will be. It will come to a stage whereby you don't need a human companion. You need a beautiful artificial robot to take care of you, whether it is a
Exactly.
he or whether it is a she. Yeah. So it's going to be a different world. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it's the way in my ideal perception of where I'd like to see technology go, is to take away the little things that take our time away from us, so that we can focus more of our time on the things that we really love and we enjoy.
Yeah.
That's where I hope to see AI go, is that it's
If
just
you
going to say,
can,
hey, I can take care of that
can
for you, so
create
you
the
can do what you
balance, if we can create the balance. But the unfortunate thing is that because they are so exciting, because they are so interesting, because they are so absorbing, it's not easy
right.
for the younger generation, because we know better. We've been there. We've been to the reality and to the real thing, and touching on the real. But the young ones, they'll be pulled by all the power, the excitement, and everything
Yeah.
what the AI can do, and they will look at human beings as a different connection, as a different kind of thing. And that's the fear. Then later on, I think after many, many, many years, they will go against it. Like what the show is all about, they will go against it. And then they want to touch Earth again. And they want to be real again and want to move away. Like the Matrix. I think the Matrix is just it's just like once upon a time when I was a small girl, they talk about people reaching the moon, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And then
Right.
it's nothing, and then now the Matrix show was so long ago. I only watch it lately when you people talk about it, but it was made quite a long time ago.
Right.
And now it is about it. It's all about it. One day it will be us underground and the AI taking over. It will happen
Mhm.
because there will be a group who realize that I just want to be human. I don't want to be in the control of AI, because from what I saw that day, what Alibaba could do, oh my God, I realized that they
Yeah.
can be in control of everything. That would be the new power, you know?
It's, I mean, there are parts of it that can be, quite fearful.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have that ability to keep ourselves disconnected from it,
Yeah.
or partially connected, or to choose when we are going to
Yes.
allow that. I mean, I'm very, very careful with the technology that I have, as far as, I don't have the systems, my house wired, or the systems like the series and the what's the other one, the Amazon dots, or I don't know what they're called, where they're just in your house, and you can just talk to them and do this for me, take care of this one, take
I
care of
want
this.
that as well. But
And
that is
I,
us.
yeah, so that's where I draw the line. I'm just like,
That
no,
is, that
I
is
want,
us, but may not be your children and your grandchildren, okay?
exactly. Well, I mean, it's funny, because when I went to visit my son one time, he had that. I'm just like, really? He goes, yeah, it's just really convenient. I'm like, yeah, it is. It's convenient, and that's how they kind of get you.
Exactly.
And
That's how it's going to be. That's how it's going to be. Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, it's
So Maria is the youngest. So Maria, how do you feel about AI?
hey, what are you guys talking about? This is so cool.
I'm not so young, but thank you. You think I am so young, but I am 40, Jean.
But
40.
you look like 28, you know?
Oh,
You look so young.
You're
On
doing
the
something
most,
right. That's good.
yeah. Good, good. Yeah.
So yeah, so we have to, I think when it comes to, just different technologies, it's a matter of allowing what's comfortable for you. And as generations, so for us, the technology is different. Okay, it's not something that it was added to our lives, where the generations coming up now, it's part of their lives. And if you disconnect them,
You can.
right now, I mean, the perfect example is disconnect somebody from their phone. They go crazy.
Yeah,
I was last weekend, I was at my brother's for a wedding, and my phone broke. I mean, it just literally just stopped working. And I can definitely think, I'm like, wow. What I can definitely think of, what is
disconnection.
the difference in the disconnection. I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh,
You lost something.
exactly.
Yeah. So what more for them? I know. Yeah. Okay.
That's it, exactly. And hang on one second, I'm going to go fix something here. Gary said that we're not streaming. Gary is doing getting his daughter in college this weekend. All right, 1 second here. Live.
oh my God. Oh.
There we go. Okay, so oops, 1 second. That's it. All right, so anyhow, what so Jean, you saw last week's show on Passion. Maria, did you see it?
Yes,
yes.
now, no. Where is Jean?
no.
Yes, now I see Jean.
There you go. So
Out.
so Maria,
For short time.
yeah, Maria, did you see the last live stream when we did on passion?
Yes,
Do you have any
yes, I did.
did either of you have any
I
questions about that?
no,
No?
no.
I think what you all touched about was very good because passion is so much part of life. Yeah, because passion is life itself. I mean, it's living life, living the colors, and passion is a way to also um, to let your feelings be connected to be beyond, to be connected to the universe. Yeah,
Right.
be with your heart, to be more than what you are, as what I wrote that in my comment, and it to be more than what we are, and to be able to connect to the universe, to feel the sun, to feel the moon, and then when you feel all the passion and the feelings, and then you come back, you're able to do so many things, or whatever you want to do, you can get a lot of things fulfilled. The whatever you're saying about the possibility, a lot of things fulfilled. The whatever you're saying about the possibility, a lot of things fulfilled. The whatever you're saying about something is wrong with the wall. A lot of things fulfilled. The whatever you're saying about something is.
Oh, no, don't tell me I did that.
Something went wrong with the voice. Yeah.
Almost.
Yes.
There we go.
Oh, please. The rabbit hole must function today, please.
Hang on a second. There it is. Can you see me? There we go. There we go.
Yes.
I saw it as well. Yeah.
So, I mean, when it comes to passion, so there's those moments in our lives when we sit like at our job or at a desk, and we keep thinking. I remember these times when we keep thinking there must be something else. There must be something more. This is not how my life is supposed to go. And that moment in our lives is when is the most important, when there's it's your higher mind saying you need to wake up. This is not what is planned for you. And it should, in most cases, or hopefully it should cause us to start asking better questions of ourselves. Why am I here? Why am I doing something that I'm really not passionate about? Why am I, not, it's not necessarily why am I not helping the world or anything like that. In my case, it was, but again, it's just like there's, when you have that sense of something's just missing. When you sit and you're just like, how come I don't feel fulfilled? Those are the questions that, when those questions come up, that it's time to start getting very, very serious and very truthful with ourselves and figure out, where did all of this not go wrong, go astray? Why am I not on the path that, I thought I was going to be on, or I was going to stay on? And those are just the questions that we need to ask ourselves. And some of us are on it, and some of us are on the path that we feel the most comfortable with, and that we can feel the most fulfilled on. But there's a lot of people out there that are not.
Yes, I guess especially when you are in the quest of earning a career, doing a business, and you are fighting the daily things. You don't have time to think, and when you don't think, which it was also part of my journey, then you don't realize that you need to connect. And then suddenly they just came, as you say, what am I doing? Is this all there is to life?
Right.
And then you need to find the connection. And when you, for me, it started a few years ago when I started to write a book on the journey of my life and lessons learned. Then I realized that I started to think, I started to reflect, I started to stop to ponder, because all the while I was just busy from hour to hour to hour until you fall asleep. So you don't really think. That's when we don't get connected. Actually, we get disconnected because we became disconnected in the sense that we are too involved on the outside world. Doing. It's only when we
I must do that because it is very true.
yeah, because
Doing.
I was like that.
True.
Doing for my family, for this, for business, for this, for that, for challenges and everything, training and everything. So by the time it's night time, it's time to fall asleep. So you don't stop to think. So you think you're connected, but it is actually connecting to the outside world, but never connecting within you. It's when you stop and then you start to connect within yourself. And when you start to connect within yourself, the source is actually connecting to the universe. The source is actually connecting to whoever you believe in, the divine that you believe in. The source is connecting to the sun, to the moon. When you look at the sun, when you look at the clouds, when you look at the sky, and you could feel the connection. When you can feel the connection, then to just let it pass by, you begin to evolve, you begin to change, and you begin to feel the connection that you never realized you could do that. That's what, when they say it's all within us, it's so true. I am not so special, and none of us are special. It's all inside us. It's only when we get that connection within us inside. And then when we look up, it's there, Yeah. So that's why I could resonate with what Gary and Ross are teaching. Yeah. And just to teach what they are doing, maybe as they say, is their passion in life, is to open people up. Because when we are so entrenched in our doing, we're doing everything, but it's all outside. So we think we feel, yes, we do cry, we do feel, but we are never really connecting inside. It's when you stop and then you want to find meaning in life. You start to connect to yourself inside. And suddenly you could connect to the universe, to nature, to the trees, to the plant, the flower. Everything looks more meaningfully to you. And then the momentum starts to connect. And that's how I feel. Yeah.
So Jean, do you think that is, do you think that's you think that's an age type of response? I mean, as far as, I know that, when I was younger, that was the last thing on my mind. When we're young, we think we're immortal, and we think that, this is, life is fun, and life is fun. But what I've noticed is that it seems like there's a learning curve as we get older. We're like, there should be more to this. And it's, we need to, then we start kind of, branching out and going, I need to find more information, because again, this is not, I just don't feel that this is what it's supposed to be. But I revel when I see younger people in this arena, wanting to learn and understanding this at such a young age. They're kind of like old souls. And I would love, and we've talked about this before, I would love to get us to the point where this is something that is taught to the younger generation, kind of like, so it's before it's too late, before they kind of get sucked into what society as the path that society has set for them.
I know, Ross, I would like to say something too. When we try to teach them this, they can hear you, but they don't really hear you. because they're not ready. They got to go through that process of life. I think they got to go through that process of life. But of course, by telling them, we're giving them awareness to let them know that it's there. But if they don't go through the process of the journey in life, they will not value what really we are teaching them, because they still can't connect yet. Because to them, it's still about, going to the university, getting a degree, fasting, meeting with friends, having good time, doing this and that. Unless, as you say, some of them are old souls. But in their teens, no way. You can teach them to be more aware and to, like, you can teach them about love and gratitude and all that. Yes, all those values is important to inculcate it in them, especially younger generation of today, because there's too much other influence. So we need to inculcate love and gratitude. And that is part of the core values I have in my family and in my company. But even when I'm talking to my staff who is in the 30s and so forth, they say, Miss Yao, it's so nice to hear you talk, but they still cannot get connected. They can't. They try. You say, you talk to me for 2 years, and then I begin to understand, why love the planet is so important, why we must do this journey, why we must plant trees and everything else. You see, it takes time for them to be connected. But it's good to create this a bit earlier, so that why do I have to reach this age to arrive there when I could have arrived earlier? But then again, is how busy we are. How busy we are. So will we actually be able to have time to actually give time to this journey? Or the balance of this journey, when you are very young and you have too many distractions, it's fun to go out for a dance, it's fun to go out to have a drink, it's fun to go for all that, versus coming to value this, which would be more important to them at the point of time.
Right.
So it's good for us, as parents or grandparents or whatever, to let them know, so that they know, it's there. But there will come a time when they will value it, I think, but if it's too soon, I don't really think so. I think it has to be people who have at least graduated from university or during that time, that perhaps a small portion of them will be good to let them be aware of it, but they won't be able to go and dwell into it as much as we do. Not all of them, but most of them will not. But the old souls will. There will be some old souls who will, but a lot of them will not be ready. Yeah.
Right.
It's just like us.
But the brain is a receiver. Is remembering in the future, maybe.
True. But that, and again, this kind of goes off of what we were talking earlier about technology, is that it becomes such a distraction.
Too much distraction that they can't give up. They couldn't give up.
Right.
And you're teaching them about nature and the connection. It's too unreal for them. the fancy word in the internet is far more real to them. So they have this fight between these two. Whereas when we connect to nature, it's not giving them the excitement, because you know why? They haven't feel the feel that we feel.
Right.
Because once you feel the feel that we feel, it's a beauty of a different kind that it's hard to explain. It's a joy. It's a joy that you feel, and the more you feel, the more you connect. And somehow, whatever you're saying, Ross, things get connected. I get good people to join me, good digital people to join me, because of the social organization I'm doing. Suddenly, this person, my brand consultant, just dropped from the sky, the kind of thing. People just drop you, yeah, and to help you to materialize things for you. So what you're saying about the when you do these type of things, somehow or other, the universe actually listens to you. They actually gives you answers. They actually provides you the possibilities and the opportunities. And then you have to be connected to realize these are the opportunities and these are the possibilities. But if your mind is not connected, you can't see it. it will pass you by.
Correct.
So when you're connected, you can see it, you can feel it, and then you will sort of value it, and then you will take it on. You see, yeah. I mean, that's just I'm still learning, But that's what it's What about you? Yeah.
But I think, sorry, Jim, but I think it is not maybe true that the information about young people and people, other peoples, that information is the good information, the spiritual information is not useful, because I think that information is always working, always, but on a different way. We don't understand. That's, yes, I think so.
Yes, Maria.
You think
Yes.
that this girl or this boy says, okay, that's not important for me, okay, that's for love and that's passion, blah 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 blah. But I think that it works, but on a different way.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. What you say is true also,
I think
Maria.
so.
By telling them,
They make the experience.
they will keep it. What I mean is, they may not put importance to it like we do. They may not spend so much time in it. But by telling them, it's at the back, it's there, so that when they need it, they can connect. So it's good that Gary and Ross, if he's able to tell them, but I think it has to be when they are in the university rather than when they are 14 or 15, it will be, the connection will be better if they have uh, gone through more of life, than just a teenager growing up. Yeah, no doubt there is no age to it, but when you want to draw a line, where do I go in to narrow down to teach what you want to teach? So you have to find where you want to go. So you can't be everywhere. No doubt you can say my course is meant for everyone. But if you are going to take it as a curriculum for the school, you have to narrow down where you're going to go.
Right.
Because I think international schools are providing things that's quite different. They are providing teachings of a different kind than from government schools. They are providing other aspects of teaching, which provides value. So I think in the international schools, when they are in the upper forms, just before university, it's also possible. Yeah. But not government school, because government schools, they are not so, they are more of the studies, geography, history is history, maths is maths, science is science. But international school, even from very young, they look at, they teach you things that's very different from the normal schools. So then that you can go on at a younger age, because
Right.
the level is more. I mean, if you are taking it, along that way. But
when you start something like that, at that particular time frame, though, in a person's life, though, a lot of those habits have already been established, to where now you're trying to interrupt or disrupt a frame of mind or a particular lifestyle. I mean, don't you think that this is something that should be incorporated from early on, so that they can learn to incorporate it as they progress?
Yeah, it's like a moral class.
Yeah.
I was young.
Something like that.
Class.
That
So
would be actually a really good idea.
Yeah, it's like moral class,
then it comes down to whose morals. I mean, that's.
Yeah, like a moral class, then it's possible, then you inculcate a different way of thinking and connecting to the heaven and earth. Yes, why not? If you look at it from that perspective, yes, Ross. So I was looking at it from another perspective, where you go through life, you learn, you go through difficulties, and you are in doubt, you are lost, and then suddenly you tell them this, I find myself,
Right.
So it can be, but if you are teaching them from young, it's like, oh, they're learning it, oh, it must be this way, then it becomes part and parcel of that. Yes, as like a moral class. Then
because I have found that a lot of times, people progress, like you were saying, is they go through school, they go through college, then they kind of started getting into the real life of, working for a living and trying to create a career and such, that then but they don't understand that there's a different direction. And this goes back to my original question of, getting this type of information out to people so that they maybe can avoid some of that hardship, from the very beginning. And it's just kind of what I noticed when, years ago when I used to go to a lot of seminars and such, is that, it's like, well, there were some young people there, which I really appreciated. But mostly they were people who are just like, I'm looking for a change because things aren't the way that I thought they were going to be. And I would like to figure out a way that part can be, introduced earlier into someone's lives, just knowing that there's another option out there, because a lot of people don't. I mean, when I first started getting involved in personal development, it was just by happenstance. It was just, I happened to read a book, and then I happened to read a book, and then my wife brought this invitation home from her work, and I thought that it was the same author of the book I had just finished reading. And I'm like, oh, I think I'll take him up on this, and I'll just go to this introductory kind of class. It sounds interesting. I really liked the book. And then I got there, and it wasn't the same person, but the titles of the books were similar. And I'm like, well, I'll just sit here, and I'm here, so I'll just sit and listen and see what's going on. And then, and I was just so intrigued. And I'm just like, wow, this is actually better than what I thought, the book that I read that brought me here. I'm just like, this is even better. But again, for me, it was just kind of a happenstance. It just kind of was a series of events. And I think a lot of people aren't in touch enough where they can look at these things. They see these events. They're just like, no, I'm just too busy. And back then there wasn't a whole lot going on with online and all this kind of stuff. Now it's almost too much. But my whole objective is to connect with people earlier in life so that they can just like, listen, there's other options for you. So it just doesn't have to be this way.
Yes, Ross, I think you are right, because you see, there's two ways, now that you're talking, and what also Maria is saying, there's two ways. One way is when you are at a more mature age, you are desiring to look at other options. You are desiring for change. You're asking for more, that there is more to life. So you're willing to listen and wanting to learn and to change. And that is what you call the young one who doesn't know any better.
Right.
And when you are able to put this across, and I think it's good, because you know what? I connect these two now. They are going to be so much influenced by IT and the AI and everything else. They would need this so that they can connect to themselves more, and we need them to connect to themselves more than just be totally in the world of AI, because there will be so much more on the artificial intelligence, that the draw of that is so strong that they will lose connection with themselves. It will be a different world, a connection with the AI of a different world. So by you teaching them from a very young age, it can be very good, because then it will let them know from very young that you have to connect to yourself. And to connect to yourself, you are part of nature, and to nature you go back, and you're part of the universe. So you need to connect to your universe. You need to connect to your source, not just the artificial intelligence. So that will balance it out. So if you could do a course literature that could come down to their level for
Right.
their understanding, I think it's very good. It would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it would be a great help. It would be a good balance, right, Maria? What do you think?
Yes, it's a good balance. Balance is a good word.
There'd be,
Yes.
yeah.
So
I mean,
Gary,
and again, I mean, because there's, you know, you have
Gary,
millions of adults that don't even know that there are different options, you
what do
know,
you
because it's passed down from, you know, from generation to generation. Is like, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. And so the kid's like, well, you know, this is all I know.
So if you would put this in a course, I think you all should write out your course lectures, present it to a school or something like that, especially international schools,
Mm,
or private schools in your country. For us, it's called international school, and you could, you know, experiment with it. I think that's good because I think the young people would need this balance, because sometimes it's difficult for parents. Of course, parents' guidance is there, but sometimes many of the parents are also not there. You see, so
right.
when you are there, you know, already even right now, let's look around us, even at our age group, there are many people out there, but there are even more people who are not aware. You see, so
Right.
if you start it from young to give them that balance, I think that would be fantastic. You know,
Mm,
so the question of how you are going to present your course for the international school, and if they can see the value in that, and I think a lot of parents will see a lot of value in that. I think that would be good. You know, you I
yeah.
think you will be not only doing a good course, but you can also earn as a lecturer as well. To you know, apart from doing good deeds, you also can earn from your good deeds. Yeah,
Right.
as a business. Yeah.
Mm. Great. All right. Well, we solved that problem.
So
Just
it's really good to talk about.
wait till Gary gets back and I tell him, hey, well, we just created a whole new course for us to create.
No, you could experiment it with the in your schools in Seattle, and you know, why not? And Seattle is a place where always the geniuses comes from. I was there, and I could see, wow, all the geniuses, you know, the one who started all the
Yeah.
Starbucks and the Boeing, and all the entrepreneurs came from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, mm.
Yeah, we have a lot of technology is here. A lot of startups on technologies. It's an interesting environment to be in, and I really appreciate it myself.
And it's a very beautiful place as well.
Oh yeah.
But I was there when it was not
Very
really.
interesting.
Mhm.
True, and very interesting. That's true. Beautiful
Yeah.
and interesting.
Yes.
Very
Mhm.
interesting.
Where are you from, Maria?
From Austria, Austria,
Oh,
Vienna.
it must be so beautiful, Austria. Austria is
Yes,
such
it is good. It is beautiful. It's true.
they're all
A small country, but beautiful.
Yeah.
beautiful, and
Lots of
that's where
history.
Uh,
the world, you know, where all the music comes from. Austria. Hmm. A lot of
oh,
music.
which music? Which music?
I don't know, because every time I hear that Vienna is a place where you go for musical, all the classicals, all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
classical.
Classicals. Classicals. Yes. Classical.
I
That's true.
love
Yes.
classicals, you know, all the classicals come from there, and a lot of great conductors come from there as well. Yeah.
Right.
That's
Where a lot of it started.
Mm,
It's
yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, and there's so much history there. I mean, that's one of the things I really like when I go to Europe, is just that there's just so much history, and the cultures there, they really respect that history as well, the good or the bad.
Mm.
And we here in the States, it's just a little bit different. We don't have nearly the history that, like the two of you have in your countries. because we just haven't been around as long. And it would be, I mean, our culture hasn't been around as long. I'm not in any way saying that the people who the American the Native Americans, I mean, they've got an amazing history, but it has just been just so, I don't know, almost covered over, almost buried to a certain degree. And it's really, really sad, because if you can talk with some of the elders from those cultures, I mean, it's really, really amazing.
I would think so. No, but Malaysia, we are a very young country. We were born in 1957, except that in Malaysia, different people come from different countries.
Right.
So upon the time, our great great grandfather comes from China, and because the races here are China from Chinese, Malaysian, China, and we are totally different from the China Chinese. So because we've been too many generations here, so you have the Malaysian Chinese, the Malaysian Indians, the Malaysian. Then you will have the people who is from Indonesia, from Middle East, the Malays, and then the Aborigines. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, when I grow older, as you are saying about American natives, and when we were growing up, when we look at the movies, cowboys and the Western and the cowboys and the Red Indians are always been depicted as the people who are more not smart. They live in
Yeah.
and so they are the silly one and the stupid one. But now when I grow up, I suddenly realize the history that they have, the way they when we were taught that, how can they pray to the god and do sun salutation and do all that and to the nature? They must be crazy. But in actual fact, they are real. They are real to themselves. They are living a real world. So it's only when I am much older that I think, to do critical thinking, that I realized that I was brought up in history in a wrong way, to think that they are any lesser because of the Western cowboy movies
Yep.
that,
I agree.
that depicted them as lesser, but they are not.
Right.
And when I do my own wake-up call, yeah. So then you realize that the South Americans and all the Indians have a lot of history that we took it and thought that they were the not so good because they are not industrialized.
Right.
For
Yeah.
me, the industrialized world, that we are better.
So let's use that as an example. So you take those movies, and what are those movies, or what is the method that they are delivered to the population? It's technology. We're right back to technology again, is that it has the ability, because a lot of people use movies as their history lessons. So now you have these tiny little computer screens that are with us. It doesn't matter where we're at. You can't see it very well because of this funky thing. But we're carrying these screens around with us, and they are just projecting, and rewriting, current events or history. And it can be disconcerting. And because people are like, well, this is, I saw this movie and that's how it all happened. It's like, it's just a movie. And this is where, when I was talking about where things are designed for, not for the initial generation, but for like the next generation, the generations after that, where many people think that, well, I saw it in a movie, so that's how it was. Like, no, the movie is just an artistic rendition, using history as simply the original idea, but that's it. But then it's just changed and evolves, and because they're trying to project a different type of story, and it's actually, you know, a very common thing. But the technology that we bring in for entertainment now has become the technology that we're really bringing in for learning. But are we learning the right thing? And which goes back to the earlier conversation. This is like, this is where, you know, this stuff can take us, and this is what it can do to a society, you know, very, very quickly. Because now, not only does it have the ability to project those images to you wherever you are, but it can project these messages to you 100 times over, again and again and again and again and again and again. This is where social media has become, in my opinion, you know, a bigger problem than I think people see. Is that because you can take a false message or a distorted message, and it's going to travel across the world instantaneously, and then it can travel across the world, you know, thousands of times in one day. And that repetition of that message, now starts to kind of make the receiver of that kind of like, oh, well, yeah, maybe it is true. You know, and then we go back to on top of that people are so busy in their lives, or they think that they're so busy in their lives, that they don't have the time to research whether that message is actually correct or not. Just like the movies, you see the movie, you're not going to go back and research that movie. Some people will. Some people are real nerds like me. And kind of go back and say, you know, that I've heard different variations of this, but that's what, you know, that's what we've seen dramatically in the last, you know, 5 to 8 years, is that now you have people who are, in my opinion, only my opinion, you have people who are definitely trying to change everyone's perception of current events or history, and rewrite a different path for everybody, all because they have the ability now to craft the message and then just boom, boom, just constantly. And if you see it and you hear it enough, because you can do it in all different types of modalities. You can do, you know, if somebody just wants to hear it, they want to see it, they want to read it, you can craft the same message over and over and over and over and over again, where all of a sudden people are like, well, yeah, I guess maybe that is true. And we are in the age of, you know, headline reading only. Many people don't read. If you see an article, they just read the headline. They don't read the article. And a lot of times the headline has nothing to do with the article. The headline was just there to capture your attention. So now you're taking, you know, headlines are basically Twitter feeds. They really are. And that's why I think Twitter became so popular so fast, is because it's short and sweet. And then so we read that, you know, that short comment, or we read that short headline, and then we just let our imagination fill in the rest without actually reading the entire article. And for me, I used to get very, very frustrated because, you know, I mean, many times I would tell people, like, because they're commenting on a headline, I'm like, have you read the article? Because it has nothing to do with the headline.
Right.
But that's, again, how this current generation and the next generations, that's how they're going to learn. That's how they're being trained to learn.
Yeah, because they want everything fast. Yeah.
You want everything fast, right? And entertaining. So now we are changing, we're making history, a version of history, entertaining as well. Oh, so now I get a history lesson about something that's very boring, but it's very, very entertaining. But is it accurate? Or is it depicting a particular culture as this way or that way, and not really the way it's supposed to be?
Yeah, I think Ross, I think the most frightening is, when they can rewrite and they can do anything, is manipulation that I'm most fear of.
Mhm.
Manipulation. And manipulation could be used uh, mainly by politicians for using religion and using fear factor. So
Mhm.
they use fear factor to change the way the simple folks think. And so this is where the manipulation is where there is really a great fear for a lot of people. So that's why to teach people how to think beyond this, as what you say you wanted to do together, it will also be good for them, because then,
Right.
and then manipulation can also be the people on top using AI to manipulate as well.
Exactly.
So if they can be taught to think that there is another way of thinking, there's another way to look at things, yeah, and that there is another way of connection, uh, then that would temper down the danger of manipulation. Because I think in today's world, as what you were just saying about the social media and things like that, the manipulation is faster, greater, more impactful. And for that, it's frightening. And so if we have a better awareness that that there is another side of it, but how many people can think like that? So we need more people to think like
Mhm.
that, so that
Right.
they are aware of that, so that they can put a full stop. Okay, if this is this, I think about it. Is it quite true? Is it quite right? If not, then I should throw it out. I don't even want to entertain it.
Right.
Doesn't even come into my mind. Yeah, but how many people can do that rather than they keep on talking, especially negativity? They will talk and they will talk and they will talk and they will go. You know what I mean? Yeah. So this is something whereby there's a great need to actually stop this. Uh, you can't stop the manipulation, but you can get the people to wake up, that to think in another way. That hey, are you sure this is not a manipulation? And yet at the same time, we cannot overdo it too, because life we need trust. Life we need stability. Life we need to believe. But it is not easy. It's not
Right.
easy. It's manipulation.
Exactly.
No. Mm.
Okay, so we're at our hour mark. Any other questions? Anything else we want to cover?
Maria, hear from
No,
Maria.
I have no question.
Yeah,
That's
Maria,
all.
you tell us about Austria a little bit before you go off.
Austria is very green, full of flowers,
Mhm.
mostly full of flowers.
Yeah.
And they have big fields and a small town, Vienna. And about Austria.
I know about Austria when I was very young from the sound of music.
Yes,
Oh, there you go.
he was in Austria.
Music. No, no, no. The movie, The Sound of Music. It was talking about Austria, yes, and it's about the hills are alive with the sound of music. Sang, yeah, when I was a little girl listening to the song, yeah, and saw the movie. So Austria is very beautiful.
Okay, I don't know this movie, Sound of Music.
Oh,
Oh my
it's a,
God, I
it's
must
a,
look about it.
yeah, it's a very classic. It's a musical. It's a musical. It's very classic.
It's
It's,
a
yeah.
musical. Oh, musical is
Yeah.
very,
Go
very
look
nice.
it up. The Sound of Music.
Yes, and
Okay.
and then there was a song that they sang, which I remember because I was such a small little girl then, and I was singing it all the time. Edelweiss. Edelweiss is a sort of a flower. I think that is in Austria. Do you have that flower?
Which
Yeah,
Which
flower?
flower? The
I don't
name
know.
of which flower?
I don't know. It was the guy singing the song. I was so young then.
I must look
Okay, now you
about
have to
that.
go watch
I
the
don't
movie
know.
and find out what flower that was, and then
Yes,
send
I
Jean
must
an
find
email.
out. And then
You
next
Google.
Saturday.
It's a nice movie. It's called The Sound of Music, and Julie
Okay.
Andrews main actress.
Yeah.
You will like it.
Okay.
You will like it.
Yeah. She had a beautiful voice.
Yeah.
She was the original Mary Poppins, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, no problems.
I think so. I think that was her. Pretty sure.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I don't know.
It is Julie Andrews. Julie Andrews was Mary Poppins.
Where she was, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Yeah, she was.
I saw her also in Mary Poppins when I was a very little girl.
Yeah.
My father.
Yeah. She was very, very popular.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so this is your homework, Maria. By next week, you have to have seen The Sound of Music, and then you can answer all of our
I
questions.
must. I must.
And let us know how accurate it was.
Okay. It's beautiful. I know that.
And then you can sing the song for us.
Yeah,
No.
the song. The whole house is alive with the sound of music, you know. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, ladies, that's it for today.
Bye, Ross. Bye, Maria.
We'll talk
Bye,
to you
Jim.
later.
Bye, Ross.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.